our next presenter is our chairman of the board. He's also a 2012 Hall of Fame inductee, Mr. Bill Crawford.
Thank you. First of all, as chairman of the National Fitness Hall of Fame, I would like to thank the Figueroa family for putting this incredible organization together and having this ceremony take place. I'd like to thank the former inductees for coming, and I'd like to thank the current inductees for coming. This event is something that my wife Debbie and I really look forward to, and we anticipate being a part of this for as long as we possibly can. So before I get started, I have to tell you a little story that happened this morning. So Greg Justice and I needed to have a meeting. So instead of a coffee meeting, we went for a walk in the neighborhood. So we're walking down the street, and we see this car with the door open and some metal things hanging out, slow down and start to swerve toward us. And Greg and I both look at each other like, what does this mean? I mean, should we start running? We're in Chicago. And a guy pulls up, and we can see in the back seat, he's got an exercise bike hanging out. And he looks at us both and he says, do you guys want an exercise bike? Can you believe that? Two exercise guys walking down the street. So had we been thinking a little bit more farther forward, we probably would have grabbed the bike because it was an antique, and we would have given it to John. So next time, I had to share that with you. Okay, so the next story is a gentleman that I have the pleasure of inducting, and this story is as much about the American dream as it is about fitness. A young man that grew up somewhere in the outback between Persia and Russia, as a little boy, had a dream about coming to America, and he held on to that dream. So when this young man was 17 years old, by himself, with $500 in his pocket, he came to the United States, landed in Washington, D.C. First thing that happened, he lost his $500. He had a box of cookies, and he found a place to live in one of the parks in Washington. And all he knew how to do was exercise. So he woke up in the morning and says, I'm going to start this day, I'm going to do some exercise. And it got the attention of a gentleman that was sitting on one of the benches watching him. And the guy thought to himself, this is pretty interesting. And he approached John, who could only speak 3 words. Okay? Yes, no, and something else. But somehow they were able to communicate. The guy was able to communicate to John that he wanted to get down and exercise with him. So he did for about 45 minutes. When it was over, he opened up his wallet and he peeled out 5 $1 bills and gave it to John. John made his first dollar in the United States of America, which he still has on a plaque, sign, teaching exercise. So he knew right then and there what he was going to be. And that man has now become one of the most sought-after trainers in the United States of America, especially with world-class athletes, not just the United States, he goes all over the country. Let's go back to when John was a little boy. This is how he got his name, the Beast. He was playing Tarzan, swinging from the tree in the backyard. He says, Mama, Mama, look at me, I'm Tarzan. Mama comes out and says, oh, no, John, you know Tarzan, you the Beast. And that name stuck with him till today. So, it is my honor and privilege to be able to present to you John the Beast Azari. There you go, let's take a picture. Hold it up so they can see it. Thank you.
I'm honored to be here. I believe, I always said, never underestimate the dream of a child. And I made it. It's an American dream. I want to thank you, God, and also thank you, Mr. John Figueroa, to make this moment for all of us. I'm between all the greatest tonight, and I'm honored. I make it short. My dream was the training. Since 6 years old, I was in the gym with my cousin. He was a champion of the boxing. He grew up in me. And at the age of 12, I started training. 17, I came here. They'll explain what happened. That's how it grew. And they joined the Beach Training Corporation. Became very successful. And I trained the greatest quarterback in the history, Dan Marino, for 10 years. The greatest wide receiver, Irving Fryer, Michael Thompson, Jose Canseco, and Diana Nayet. She swam from Jupiter to Bahamas, 102.5 miles. Indies car racers, world champion boxing, MMA fighters, internationally and nationally. And still, I'm hungry to make next champion. I live in my clothes. This is the first time you see me in human clothes. I actually have human clothes. I have this. My clothes is hanging there. And I'm very proud of it. And I have passion. For me, if somebody in the bus bench asks me about the training, I sit down, I don't care who is there. I can explain, and I love to do it. This is my blood. And I'm so happy to be here. This is an American dream. I accomplished, thank you, John. I got my first dollar. I didn't believe it. Bear sold it. I took a picture of it. I framed it. American flag is one of the flag is really good heart, you know. I said, thank you, God. Thank you, America, to give me the opportunity to prove American dream exists. It is. Thank you so much. Thank you, all of you. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.